Well, hello, builders. I would love to welcome you to this episode of the Build Your Success podcast. As you know, we like to build you so you can build others. This is a special episode, a bonus episode for Father's Day. And I am grateful to have my dad, James Brogan, with me today. You know, in life, we get a lot of mentors and a lot of influence, and my dad's been a great influence in my life. And I just want to welcome Dad to the podcast today. Welcome, Dad.
Thank you.
And happy Father's Day, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, my dad is an overcomer. I just want to tell you kind of where he's at in life and what he's had to overcome. He's had 4-way bypass surgery. He's been on kidney dialysis and came off of that. He's got retinopathy, which lowers his vision. He has difficulty seeing. And he's also got neuropathy, which causes him to have to use a walker to walk. So a lot of physical ailments. He had to have his toe amputated because of gangrene. But he's an overcomer. He's a fighter. So, Dad, tell us a little bit about how you overcome and why you fight to survive.
Well, I fight to survive on account of my children, and God has really blessed me on helping me survive on different things.
Yeah, I've been encouraged every time that you've been in the hospital and we face these trials, how you've had an overcomer and fighter mentality and just been positive really throughout it all. I know you've been down a couple times, but for the most part, you've been positive about how things are going and been faithful, if you will.
Well, other people have really encouraged me to do better, especially living where I'm living now. These people are 80, 90 years old, and they've encouraged me more to get out more and do more.
Yeah, you've introduced me to some of these folks here, and as you said, they're much older than you, and yet they're very physically active and just encouraging and inspiring. Just some great people that you've met here at this location. But, you know, that's another thing that I've always recognized in you is your care and your compassion for others. You know, you would literally give your shirt off the back to someone that needed it. All throughout my life, you've given to people, you've helped others, you've given them clothes, you've bought gifts for them at Christmas time. You've really inspired me to be a giver.
Well, son, it's like this, you know, I didn't have much when I was growing up. And when you don't have much, you seem to give more to other people as you get more in life. So that's how I become such a giver to people.
Yeah. And the other thing, you know, you've always been an entrepreneur. When I was about, I guess, 10 or 12 years old, you had a lawn business and we mowed a lot of lawns together, and you used some young people and gave them jobs and did that for a few years. And then you had a business where we went in and replaced flooring in mobile homes. Of course, I had that great job of cleaning off the toilet wax rings and patching the papers, but it taught me to work hard. And you were an inspiration as far as entrepreneurship. You also had a business where you escorted mobile homes. So in my growing up years, you always had your own business.
Well, I didn't always have my own business. I worked for the school board for 9 years, and I just wanted to get out and do more and earn more money. So the only way I figured out how to do that was go into my own business.
Yeah, and I remember one year specifically, I think I was about 12 or 13 years old, and some of the young guys couldn't show up, so you had me on a weed eater, and I just remember swelling up a little bit when you told Mom how I'd done as good a job as those older teenagers had done. So, again, you instilled in me a work ethic and how to work hard and be an entrepreneur.
Well, I've always had to work hard all my life. I've carried block. I've worked on the railroad. I've worked in packing houses, and I've done just about almost anything. And I wanted to instill in my children to work for what they get instead of just giving it to them. And that's what I try to instill in yours and Brandy's life the whole years of y'all that I was with y'all.
Yes, sir. And the other thing that you've instilled in me, and I know Brandy's the same way, and Brandy's my sister for those listening, is we don't know any strangers. We're very outgoing people, and you've always taught us to ask people questions and get to know people and find out about them, where they're from, you know, what they do. And you've always been inquisitive. So how's that helped you in life, Dad?
Well, I've learned a lot from older people. You know, like my grandmother, my granny taught me a lot of stuff when I was growing up. She tried to teach me how to clean fish and clean birds and with hogs and stuff like that. And she tried to help me grow on learning how to do things. You know, she even tried to teach me how to sew, but I was never a sewer, so I gave that one up. But my grandmother was a big influence on my life. I lived with her from the time I was 16 to almost the time I was 20, and she really encouraged me to do more and do things.
You know, you're talking about Granny Pippin there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and if I remember the story right, you left home in Tampa and walked to her house at least 30, 40 miles away in Bartow. So how did, and you spent the night somewhere. Tell us about that a little bit.
And I spent the night on the side of the road with me and my dog and my bag of clothes. It was sort of scary at 16 years old, but I survived. God helped me to survive. And God has helped me survive on all the things you've talked about with the diabetes and the gangrene and the heart trouble. I mean, he's always blessed me, and I've always come out of stuff. Now I'm struggling with COPD, and he'll help me through this, you know. God's a wonderful person, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's great to have a great mindset and the influence. You know, since you've moved into here, you know, the first of it, there was the COVID situation, so you couldn't get out and meet folks much. But after that, now you've gotten out and met some of these people, and they've actually inspired you, as you started this podcast off with, how these really, you know, 90-year-olds. We met one this morning who's moving out of here, and she's just a great person, and they have inspired you. How old are you now, Dad?
68 years old.
So at 68, they've actually inspired you to try to be more active at their age. So
yes,
the whole mindset thing is so important, and being influenced by others. Again, I'm going to say it again. You've influenced me. Mom's influenced me. I think if you've got great parents, you should be thankful for that love you and care for you. And I just want to thank you, Dad, and tell you Happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope you have a great Father's Day with your children, my grandchildren.
Yes, sir. Well, we want to thank you for listening to this special episode of the podcast today. This is our Father's Day episode. And Dad will remember one time I wrote in his Bible, Happy Father's Day. I spelled it with an extra R, but I do know how to spell Father's Day now. So listen, thanks for listening to this podcast today. This is going to air on Friday, so that's going to give you time to remember to get your father something for Father's Day and be thankful for your father. And we just want to encourage you today. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. Remember to build yourself and then build others.